Hey there guys, it's Greg from Geeks and thank you so much for watching our channel. So in this video I want to show you Destinies from Lucky Duck Games. Destinies is a story-driven game that uses app. So if you don't like apps in board games, I think that one is a miss for you. But if you don't care if there is an app or not, I think that Destinies is something that you should at least think about, because game in this very small box offers us a lot of components. It's just a gigantic game in very small box. At the beginning we only get 5 scenarios, but it's a game from Lucky Duck Games, so we know that they will develop their title for many years. And we know that because of the, for example, Chronicles of Crime, that they constantly get updates with new stories. Unfortunately, we only have base game, so we cannot say anything about expansion, and that expansion is already visible in the app, but we don't know what this expansion offers, so this is not gonna be said anything about this expansion in this video. So let's check in what do we think about Destinies and how this game looks like. Destinies is one of the most immersive games that landed on our table. The medieval world with plagues, demons, church, witches and a lot of folklore taken from the old tales is created flawlessly. Writers made a tremendous work because nothing here feels dull or artificial. All events and dialogues feel natural and realistic in their own way. But the best are surprises and turnovers we're going to encounter. Many events have their twists, keeping you super engaged almost every time you perform your turn. And deducting and collecting the clues spread around the scenario map is very satisfying, also because some of them are quite subtle, so being focused and perceptive gives you the advantage over the other players. And when you meet your unique requirements, you can try to fulfill your destiny, launching this way a series of usually very dramatic and very cool events. Saying some of them are epic is an understatement, and without saying any spoilers, I'm going to say only this. Try to play as a nun or character in their corresponding scenarios. The stuff that is happening during their final sequences is breathtaking, and big reveals during the Tainted Grail campaign, for example, blanks in the comparison. The only area of improvement here is getting all events in the game read by an app. Imagine different voices for Smith, Bishop and every other NPC within the game. First and every other scenario welcomes you with a super atmospheric intro read by a very skillful lector, and I wish to hear more stuff like that. We don't mind if the story-driven game is totally non-replayable as long as immersion and plot are awesome. Although Destinies has it all, it's also surprisingly replayable. When starting the scenario, you have to pick one of the 3 characters, each of them having its own plot, special events, and very engaging and exciting ending with many twists and turnovers. Up to this, each character can choose to pursue their destiny in 2 different ways, which also highly affects the gameplay. Add to this the fact that later scenarios have decent maps with much more points of interests and NPCs, and there is no way you can visit all of them during the first session. There are plenty of reasons to go back to the same scenario, try different characters, meet other NPCs, face different obstacles, and experience different ending. Some board gamers are not into games when the app is necessary to play, and Destinies is highly app dependent. When scanning QR codes is not as often as in Chronicles of Crime, you have to use an app for every action you take. App usage is very similar to this from Mansion of Madness and Journeys to the Middle-earth. Did it ruin our immersion? Absolutely not. It makes the game much smoother so you can fully focus on the story. And the app is executed flawlessly. It's much better than this from Journeys in the Middle-earth. Plus, remember one thing, it's Lucky Duck Games and they support their games for a very long time, often also adding free content, and I guess with Destinies we get some regular stuff too. There is not much to talk about when it comes to mechanics. The game purely focuses on the narration. You have some subtle character development, you collect items and gold, and you pass successfully encountered events using dice rolls or sometimes stuff from your backpack. Maybe it's not much, this simple approach serves the game very well. Everything here is balanced and works well, but most importantly, learning and teaching the game is a piece of cake. And setup takes up to 5 minutes only because the map is discovered through the game. In one of our last videos about Dice Throne Adventures, I mentioned that not every game needs co-op mode, and the situation with Destinies is totally opposite. Each of the players pursue their own destiny, where for most of the session competition is rather symbolic and consists mostly of who is faster in figuring out where and what he should do to fulfill his quest. But when one of the players is at least few turns ahead of the others and he reaches the final sequence of his destiny, there is a very high chance he finishes the game before others even start their own final sequences. This way, losing players are not getting a chance to experience all of those awesome turnovers and plot twists designed for their own characters. In the end, losing feels very extra bad. Of course, the game is totally balanced, and for not winning, players can only blame themselves, but not getting to know your own ending playing the story-driven game is not something we liked. Even winning is bittersweet because you get a chance to experience something very awesome, but on the other hand, you feel that bragging about this and showing your excitement too much would only push your friends down the cliff even more. If you don't mind our remark about the game's competitive nature, then you will enjoy Destinies both in duo and with 3 players at the table. Downtime is reasonable. Besides, if you want to win or immerse yourself more in a game, you should track and read every event your opponents are encountering to find clues for your own quests, track dead ends, and even hurry to get something before your opponents. But what's also cool is the solo mode. Fulfilling your destiny alone works almost the same as with friends. Plus, you will probably enjoy the plot, events, and all texts without competing with other players. And playing solo means even more replayability because you can start the same scenario each time picking out different characters. Destinies hit all the marks we have expected from this kind of game. Engaging plot and very immersive gameplay when being very approachable in terms of rules and mechanics. The game is one of the best narrative games we have on our table, and only the competitive nature of it is something we have problem with. Time for scoring. David gives 4.5 scratches, however, when it comes to me, I lost 4 on 5 scenarios and didn't have a chance to finish my personal stories, so I give 1 scratch less. So in total, Destinies gets from us 8.5 scratches on 10 possible and our mark of recognition. And with co-op mode, score would be even higher. That's all for today, see you at the next game, and if you enjoy our content and honest approach to the games, subscribe to our channel and join us on our Patreon.